3 in 4 Ugandans aged 18 to 24 years have experienced at least one type of violence, physical, sexual, or emotional, during their childhood. We know that those experiencing violence in childhood suffer long-term effects, including poorer mental health and worse educational outcomes. And in high-income countries, we know that violence in childhood is associated with poorer work outcomes. But we don't know whether this is the case in countries with less developed economies like Uganda. In 2019, London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, Makerere University, Kampala, and University College London started a study to look at the relationship between violence in childhood and adolescence and child labor, participation in skills training programs, and work outcomes in Uganda. For this project, we carried out different activities. We reviewed and analyzed existing data and interviewed young people about their pathways into work and experiences of skills training. What did we find? Young people who had experienced violence in childhood were more likely to work in a hazardous sector, and young women were more likely to work longer hours. Those working in childhood were more likely to have experienced violence in the past year. There are gender differences. Girls were more likely to be out of education, employment, and training, with only 34% of young women in paid work compared to 68% of young men among those who had left school. Only 28% of young men were in decent work and only 16% of young women. By mapping programs in Uganda, we found that 3 in 4 people in formal skills training are boys. Non-formal skills training organizations generally support more vulnerable people into work, but there is lots of missing information about all skills training programs. Once in work, 2 in 5 young people experienced violence in the workplace in the past year. Violence was common across all work sectors, but very high in female domestic workers, with 1 in 2 reporting violence from an employer. Young people felt a positive training environment should have respectful relationships, psychosocial support for those who have had negative life experiences, and training in life skills for all to better prepare them for work. So what can be done? We need interventions to increase participation of girls in skills training and paid work. We need interventions to reduce violence in the workplace. We need to incorporate violence programming with non-formal skills training.